I think today is the final nail in Jim's coffins. And uh, I actually made a decision to not go to the gym the last couple of days. My apartment complex closed the fitness centers 2 mornings ago. And I trained legs there before they closed at like 8 a.m. And I had already had in my head, okay, that's my last, like, in with gym equipment, like major gym equipment workout. And yesterday was supposed to be a rest day, and I was debating, like, should I go in? Should I, like, what does it say about me if I don't take advantage of this one more day? But one of the things, I have not competed since we last talked. I had made a decision to step away for a while, take a hiatus. I have to say, last year and this year, I mean, this is a good time to take a hiatus. I planned that pretty well. But I did finally get my mental state in a mode of not feeling like my workouts are like Armageddon. Like, oh my gosh, I only have 10 more back workouts before the show comes. I don't know if I can fit in everything. And then you're shoving everything. It's almost like you hoard exercises and hoard workouts going into a show. And I've gotten over that. It's taken a really, really long time to understand, no, I'm living life and I'm shaping my body the way I want it to be. And I'm not on a deadline. Um, Except in life, I want to look a certain way while I'm living before I die, which I think I'm like halfway there now because I'll be 48 this year. So, um, but yeah, I kind of went back and forth, and I finally decided, I just decided, my civic duty is to make sure that I'm not contributing to the problem. Just because I feel fine, these lockdowns are not for the healthy people. They're not for the people who have the strong immune systems. It's to ensure that our hospitals don't get clogged when the people who do have the issues end up contracting the virus. So it's to kind of even things out, and it's hard. Um, what I do for the majority of my income is it's stopped.
Oh, well, hey. Well, I'm going to be completely honest with anyone. I haven't admitted this to anyone except a few friends, but I mean, I never got tested or anything like that, but I am pretty sure that I still might have, because I did actually get tested yesterday to see if I still had the coronavirus. So what happened was, I was at a casino I think it was about 2 weeks ago that I went to a casino, and because they're really, really big here. I mean, I live about 5 miles away from an Indian reservation, and Native Americans, that's why the gambling age is about 18 here. So it's really huge part of the culture here. So I was at a casino, and normally, that's the one time I go out when it's not for work or anything. So I went there, and about, 4 or 5 days later, I think it was last Monday, I started to feel kind of funny. And then the next day after that, I was having a cough, like an uncontrollable cough, and I had a fever, I think of 102, and I was just, dead sweating. And that lasted for 3, 4 days where I was just bedridden, just coughing, just fever. And then when I finally looked up the symptoms for coronavirus, I was like, yeah, they're okay. I definitely probably had this, and I had trouble breathing too. So the fever broke on Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, I started to feel a little bit better. And then Monday, I was feeling, back to form. And then I'd messaged you last week about coming on. So I told myself, I was like, hopefully I'm free of this so we can do this. So it's been, 4 days since I've had any symptoms. So I feel perfectly normal now. But I went in to get tested, and they said they'd inform me either by tonight or tomorrow morning if I'm still carrying it or not. So, I still have my meals delivered at the door of my room, and I'm still, really self-quarantining and making sure that, I get all this cleaned up once I finally get the clean bill of health. So for anyone out there, yeah, it's not a thing to really mess around with, because I know a lot of people are saying, especially people my age, I'm 25, where there's like, oh, who cares if I get it? It's not going to kill me. It's like, yeah, even if it doesn't kill you, it still sucks. It's still not a fun thing to have. I mean, you don't willingly want to give yourself this, and you don't know who you're going to pass it on to. I mean, I have two parents that are both about to turn 60, and I do not want them to get infected with this, because who knows what that could do to them. So yeah, honestly, everyone self-quarantine, because I saw that stupid video of those kids down in Florida who were talking about, like, oh, if I get the coronavirus, I get the coronavirus. And it's like, I mean, it's like, no, thankfully I wasn't interviewed when I was 18 or 21 because, I'd probably be just about as stupid as some of them are, but still it's like, come on. So that's my coronavirus story. And yeah, it's nothing to be messed around with people. And it's just take this seriously. I know, especially a lot of people aren't taking this as seriously as they should. So that's my warning out there. Everyone's, you have to take this seriously.
Yeah, and that's like anything. It's like when we get in our car, we don't know. It doesn't mean that we have to live our lives in fear, but this is something that the it is spreading so quickly. Imagine if we weren't to do this and how much worse it would be. And of course, hindsight is always going to be, no pun intended, 2020. um, but you know, we just kind of have to go with it. So you can't change it. You cannot. So that was something that I did my very first IGTV a couple of days ago. And one of the things that I talked about, because one thing I'm concerned about are people. I deal with anxiety and depression. I'm pretty open about it.
Same here. Yep.
Jim is my therapist. Now I do work with a therapist. I went on to BetterHelp and work with an online therapist. I have to say it's one of the best decisions. That is probably I've done therapy my entire life. Welcome to dysfunction. And this has to be one of the best experiences with a therapist I've had, except for one therapist in college that helped me reach a turning point. And they're working with their people in terms of helping people so that you're not paying during this time too. They're wonderful. On my Instagram, I'll put up a link so that people can get a free week. I worry I don't think enough is being talked about people's mental health. If we thought that we were having violence and shootings before, I do worry about when you're cooped up and temperatures are rising. You go a little stir crazy, or you start to question things, or you're not in touch with reality. I mean, think about it. A lot of people are working from home, but a lot of people from the service industry can't do that, and maybe they're disappearing into Netflix series or social media or whatever else, video games and things. So I do recommend picking up a hobby that isn't. It's tough, but you got to put your phone away for certain times of the day. So pick up a hobby, whether it's learning a new sport that you can learn through YouTube, or learning or reading, or all sorts of things. Learn a new language. All sorts of things that are out there in order to help you feel like you have control over the situation. Because as soon as what leads to anxiety is feeling like you don't have control. And so I just, even before all of this hit, or hit really badly for us in the US, I came up with a mantra for myself of whatever you do, do it well. So that I'm not putting pressure on myself of what I'm doing, but just whatever I'm doing, I obviously chose to do it. I'm in charge of my life. Somebody didn't hold a gun to my head and say, you have to watch this Netflix series. You have to watch Breaking Bad for the third time in 3 years. But if I'm going to choose to do that, then go into it and do it well. It is how I work with clients and tell them, if they say I messed up on the diet, or I had a cheat meal and I wasn't supposed to, or I ate more. I'm like, did you enjoy it? I hope you enjoyed it. Because if you put a guilt trip on it, then you really wasted it. So whatever you do it well. Now, hopefully you choose some other things that are a little more useful than watching Breaking Bad 3 times. But yeah, that's I think that may help some people if they start to get like panicky or feel anxiety or start to get down in the dumps. Just ask yourself, whatever I'm doing right now, am I okay with it? And am I doing it well?